allergy time? Seasonal
I don't
change?
know.
Because I feel like every time of year is allergy season except for winter.
It's like things grow in the spring, so there's pollen that comes up that wasn't there in the winter, I guess, and then maybe with like the leaves changing and
but
like
then
as
in
they
summer,
come through
whenever
the
it
air,
rains, it's like everything's attacking me, and then like I said, it's
just
only
all the
winter
time.
kills
It's fine.
everything, including your happiness. So
including your
and then you don't have to
face
deal
and your
about allergies, but then
skin.
you have to deal about the flu. Yeah, and not staying moist enough.
Yeah, that's
Ugh.
the thing.
But anywho,
Oh.
hi, welcome to the Music Lens podcast with me, Alex Allegra.
And Katie Fee.
Sorry,
Alex just poked my foot.
It's because I'm itching bug bites on my foot above
don't
the blanket.
itch bug bite.
I know. It looks awful.
You're not
Plus,
supposed to do that.
my spray tan is like coming off, so like my ankles look so orange right now. It looks awful.
Oh boy.
I know.
Aww.
I actually like went to like my first tanning salon to do one instead of just an at-home tan.
Okay.
Before the wedding I went to.
Ah.
And all was good, actually. I was very scared it was going to turn into a Ross Friends situation.
Okay. Fair.
But they had complete I was like memorizing the instructions, and I was like, if I go in there, are you going to actually tell me? Is there going to be a screen? Like, because they just said, okay, you're ready in room 12. And I was like, okay. And I like went into the room, and I was like, what is going on? And then I also like read online, like you can go in completely naked, but then on their website it said we recommend a bathing suit for like not FDA, but like whatever
health-wise.
Yeah, they're like, we
things.
recommend a bathing suit to cover up your private areas. And so I was like, okay, so do I like, are you guys like gonna be watching me? Are you gonna be like, oh, she did that naked? Or like, do you guys not really care? So I like get in there.
I mean, I wouldn't want anything getting anywhere you don't want it, so
that was my thought process. But I wore like the smallest bikini that I could find, so that there really wasn't any tan lines.
Right.
Plus the dress I was wearing, I was like, it doesn't really matter. Like it was kind of like a dress that like didn't matter that much. So I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
So I go in, and then they're like, place feet on 1 and 2, and I was like, okay, I can do this. But then I was like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna know when they spray? Because I didn't have any like of like the little goggles or anything like that, because it said like they'll be provided at the counter, and I didn't get asked any of that stuff. So I was like, I'm just going in blind here, right?
No.
So I'm like, okay, and they're like, spraying will begin now. So I was like, oh yes, okay, so we can do this. So I'm like scrunched up like this, and I'm like, okay, I got it. And then they're like, okay, now side, and I was like, oh, okay, but I will say I did mess up on the moisture level, so I like did an extra, because it was like Suntan City was doing $5 anytime tans, and I was like, amazing, I can do that, right? So I go, and then they were like, no extra charge, you can do a whole moisture thing too, where it like locks everything in and it like moisturizes your skin. Like I was like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna do that for free. So I added that. But that one I misheard, so I did 2 fronts. And I was like, hopefully that's not a big deal, because I was like, I don't know if that's tinted or not. Because I did say, like, the walkout tinted so that you have a glow to you.
Okay.
So I don't know if that did anything, but
hopefully it's okay.
Yeah. But, oh yeah, so I was going to say, so it only left weird marks on, like, my thumb. Like, you could very visibly see a line on my thumb for the longest time. It's since gone now, but like that was like the only part. I was like, don't look at my hands too closely, they like don't look good. That was the only like funny part, but like again, no one even noticed. Like I was with the family all day, and I was like, did you notice my thumb? And they were like, oh god. And I was like, yeah. And they were like, no, it's not really like noticeable.
Yeah,
so that's good at least. But yeah, Suntan City would recommend. Just listen carefully and watch out for the way you hold your fingers in there, apparently.
The way you hold your fingers.
Yes, the way you hold your fingers.
All right, tanning tips with Alex. So this episode is going to be current events stuff. So just kind of chit-chatting, catching up with some stuff that's been happening. Music industry related, because that's kind of our thing.
I don't know how, I kind of know what you have a list of things, but I have like some extra things that I don't know if you'll cover or not. But first of all, like what's new with you, Katie?
Our living room is gone. because we are getting crawl space work done of like fixing like the beam and joists and things that hold up the house.
Okay.
So yeah, right now like the floor is completely gone in the living room and the hallway and the office, and they're getting all that stuff done and putting new flooring in. So it's been an interesting time. It's very weird having to like step on this one piece of wood to get from the kitchen to the hallway and hope it doesn't like fall through or something. So because it's not like secured in place.
Yeah. That's not that far, right? Like,
no,
you have a
just
one-story
right around
house,
the corner.
so, yeah.
But yeah, it's very weird. And they like put towels in the air ducts to like keep it from blowing in those areas because it will stir up the dust and the mold. But that means that the air kind of comes stronger through the ones that it can get through. So our bedroom's really cold now.
Oh. That's nice.
So, like, I guess I'm wearing pants to bed. Wait, can you hold for a second?
Oh, it's a bird outside. Okay. I thought it was like some reverb thing, so I was trying to figure it out.
I heard noises earlier because I was like, what's that? What's making noise over there? And I think it was the LaCroix. I don't remember when we recorded last of if you knew about your musical yet.
Probably. I've known about it for like a month. So we got casting wise, and then we waited a whole month before rehearsals started, which was like the weirdest timeline, and then we only have a month of rehearsals until shows start. So yeah, but I did get cast in an actual role this time, so
wahoo,
yay. But I really just brought up the new stuff because I just wanted to say that I started watching RuPaul's Drag Race.
Okay.
There's only 3 seasons on Hulu, though. I know apparently the rest of them are on Paramount Plus, but I don't have Paramount Plus. Yeah. So I've been watching the 3 that are on Hulu. Because Brayden always makes fun of me. He's like, I feel like Drag Race would be your thing. And I'm like, I'm in love with it. So I'm like...
There you go.
So all the music is just playing in my head at the moment. So I'm just like, cover girl. Put the bass in.
That's why you randomly said cover girl earlier. Okay, that makes sense now.
I'm just like singing in my head constantly.
Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah. That's fun. I started Gilmore Girls again a little bit ago, so my second time doing or my first rewatch second time through, since that's like a thing in the fall people do. So it's like I guess I'm gonna be doing this every year now because I watched it for the first time and it was like
Girls to be like it's not one of those shows that I like binge watch a whole lot. Like I think I've only watched it through twice. I watched it in college, back when I was like catching up on everything I felt like I missed as a child. So I was like, I like had this list of shows that I felt like everyone was always talking about and I just never watched. So I was like, I had a lot of time freshman year doing nothing in my bed. So I was like, what are we gonna do? We're gonna watch some TV.
I watched Friends for the first time freshman year. That's what I did.
Which I couldn't believe. I was like, Katie, get on it. Let's go.
It's fine. And then just binged Criminal Minds.
Yeah.
Because
my goal was to live as much life as I could via TV.
Via TV.
In college, so.
Yeah. Okay. Did you have anything else? Or do we want to dive into stuff?
I think so. I think some of the other stuff might be... because I have a thing to mention on, like, the chapel stuff that we've said, and, like, there's been some new developments in her story and that I wanted to touch on. Oh, which also kind of was the reason I wanted to bring up Drag Race, because I was like, I know how we said that, like, the Halloween costume, which this, again, probably is, like, a completely different topic, but I just, like, got to thinking, I was like, you know, how we say, like, your viral moments and all that stuff are, like, the Halloween costume, and, like, I finally understand why people like chapel and like why we're all so into this. Like I had a really like poetic way of thinking of it, and of course I'm not going to be able to think about it now, but like I just think about like why the whole like drag appeal of it is, and like I never understood. Like I also was a little ignorant and thought that like if you were a male you did female as drag, and if you were a female you did male as drag, but I don't think that's necessarily the case.
I don't think so. I don't know much, but like just based off of her Tiny Desk performance, like Because she did that in
she
drag.
Does as drag. So I was like,
not manly
maybe
drag.
Drag, like the whole point of it is just like exaggerated expression of fashion and like building this character. And I think it's so cool that like, as we talked about as performers, how like in my mind I have to build this character, and so it just opened up the world to like having so much more fun in music and stuff. And once I kind of like connected those pieces, like watching Drag Race just became like 10 times more fun. And it's just like, because like I said, I like jumped in at season 10, and you know, I feel like I obviously know what a drag queen is, but like I never really knew anything like about the culture or anything like that. So watching the show has just been like, wow. And the fact that like the crew is so supportive on that show, and just like everyone that's on it is so support, like it just like, oh, it made my heart so happy. And I was just like, I really didn't know how much I was missing as far as like this whole other world of culture and just like other things outside of my little bubble of the world. So it was just very interesting.
Yeah. We do have Chapel in the sense of I have VMAs on here.
Okay.
I have it. Okay, so I put notes because I feel like last time that we did kind of a current events thing with like new music, I was like struggling to think of certain things I wanted to talk about, so I was like, I'm gonna like plan ahead and write out thoughts and stuff, but we don't have to go in that order. So like VMAs, I don't know if that's a good starter since you already mentioned Chapel.
We mentioned it, because I think the thing I was gonna mention of it was at the VMAs she had said like somebody asked her like what would happen if you won a Grammy, and she was like, let's not win a Grammy, and like then we can be like, see guys, told you, it's like not working. And for me that really bothered me, because I was all for the whole like, let's normalize what a celebrity is. And I was thinking about it in the sense that like, I think the only time I have met people and it didn't feel like I was meeting someone was when we met, and not in a bad way, please don't understand, I love them so much, but Sierra and Jerry from Ladies and Tangents, because they keep such a real like, they really are two people that just decided to talk on a microphone one day, and that is their whole brand and podcast, and their people at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's like sleepover vibes and friendship without interaction.
And it doesn't feel like you're getting the tea of a person because they're a celebrity. Like, they've always just felt like that sleepover, like, oh, you're just literally talking about anything with your friends.
Right.
So, like, that was the only time that I hadn't been like, oh my gosh, I'm meeting this person in my head. Like, even from, like, the littlest of people, like I said, that, like, maybe we're just, like, a step or two above us in school. It always felt like I was meeting that person. Like, it was always this weird, like, oh my gosh. Like, and I'm not starstruck in that sense, but, like, there was just a different...
It was just, like...
There was just a difference.
I guess, like... Maybe example would be when we were at Putt Shack for your birthday and Kendra was there from Tiger Lily.
Right,
and I'm like, I know her. I had classes with her, but, like, I wasn't sure if she would remember me or, like, think to say hi or anything, even though we do still interact occasionally online. Because I'm like, you're, like, up here now of success-wise.
Right, yeah.
So I was, like, surprised when she's like, oh, hey, Katie, how's it going? I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, so was not expecting it.
Yeah. And so I know where I was and I know I'm here, but I'm trying to figure out how I got there. The roadmap kind of went this way, and I was like, fork in the road. Okay.
Celebrities, definition of celebrity, Chapel.
Yeah.
Trying to work backwards.
I know. So, anyways, back to the Chapel part of it. I feel bad because when I'm editing, a lot of times I like start sentences so often and then I try to cut out certain spots, but the problem is that like my talking goes like this, and then I like, oh, don't finish that thought, and then oh, don't finish that thought, and I'm like, Alex, finish a thought. That really bothered me though, because at the end of the day, like, you did want, like, you didn't put your stuff out into the world and want to be a singer and a performer and do that to not end up at a position that you're in right now. So, like, I understand, like, oh, normalizing, that's where it was. Because I was, like, the normalizing of celebrities and stuff. And, like, that's all great. Love that. And that was how it tied in with the Ladies and Tangents. So, like, there can be normal people that have big, successful careers. Right. I get that.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, and that was just my opinion, I'm sure there are people that like meet Jerry and Sierra, and that's like meeting a celebrity for them in their minds. It was just in my head. That's, yes, love that you're like including and normalizing all that stuff. but also at the same time, like, that I feel like is crossing the line of like, do you really want to diminish all of your work and everything that you put into this?
Yeah.
Just like not even want the like it, and we can talk about the Grammys as an organization and all that stuff as a separate thing, like whether or not you agree with it, but like to not be acknowledged by your peers and all this stuff and almost make fun of things that people work so hard in their lives to even achieve. It's like that kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, and I'm like, we said like it's one thing to stand up and like not be a bitch, but like please don't cross the like just being a bitch because you want to be kind of line. And then it gets like kind of tricky as far as like, but then it also I think went along with the fact that she, at least when I heard it on the radio, when they were talking about it, they said like it also kind of came after her getting like crying in an airport because she was being berated by a fan for not signing a photo in the back, like at an airport. So like I get where she was probably coming from, but like don't diminish your entire career, like because obviously she's not like giving up her career because she's adding tour dates, she's going to award shows, she's winning awards, so it's like it's not like she just said like fuck this, I don't want to do it, and has completely backed out. So it's like don't completely diminish everything that you've done and everything that like everybody else wishes that they were doing in your position. Like, and again, it's not the whole selling, like, you don't have to sell your soul and do everything and be a yes person. I get all of that, but, like, there is a level of, like, gratitude that you still have to have and, like, appreciation for where you are and still, like, wanting to work towards, especially when everyone in the industry is coming to your aid to be like, here's how I dealt with it. Like, I get it that you're going through a lot right now, but I also don't want her to hit her okay, I'm standing up for myself and her breaking point all in the same time because like it's just gonna come to a crashing and burning sensation. Or she's saying this stuff to just be at the headlines of it all, like she's saying that and then but then that's also kind of gonna leave a bad taste in my mouth because it's gonna be like, okay, you did all of that just to be the bitch at the end of the day, and it's gonna be like, okay, well, that's not why I wanted to be a fan of yours, because you seem to stand for something different instead of just making the headlines like everybody else does. So,
I feel like I saw something about that recently, but didn't know much about it. But obviously saw the red carpet moment of the guy yelling and she yelled back.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just another example of like standing up for yourself and not taking anything, like demanding respect, because there's a lot going on red carpets and most people don't like see that when you're watching it on like TV, if they have it on TV or like on social media. Those
kinds of moments are always like happening in the documentary of like their lives, like you'll see like, oh wow, they really treated her like shit on that red carpet after the fact. It's like always putting those montages of like times when you could tell that they were breaking and like couldn't break. So but like that part didn't bother me.
So like I get like wanting to stand up for yourself and demand respect in that of like you shouldn't be yelling at her. Like there's already enough happening in that with like all the photographers trying to get their shots and like being told to stand certain places in certain ways and all that, and it's just a lot of stuff happening on red carpets all the time, and you don't really see that on TV, like I said. So like there's more to it of why she kind of got to that point, I think.
Right. And I think I have a lot of respect for going back to all of this and tying it in with everything that we've talked about with this whole celebrity specifically being on Chapel and all that stuff right now, is that I think that there should be a level of respect for the fans that like really it took a lot of guts for them to like even come up and say hi and ask for the picture and stuff. It's when people start being assholes and demanding that they have some right to you and like you're there so you must cater to them, because there is a level, and I was thinking about it like why I was like there is this level of like you're a celebrity so like you always have to be ready, is like on America's Next Top Model back in the day when I used to watch in like middle school. One of the challenges was they had to like fly across to another country, but then they had to be like ready and they didn't know that they were being photographed when they got off the plane. So it was like the challenge of like you have to constantly be ready, but like
there's gonna be people. taking pictures.
So I never thought that was fair. So like again, I was all for her standing up for like you shouldn't have to be 100% at all times because that's so unhealthy for any human being to do that.
Yeah,
and you deserve like your alone time. But again, like I always was like, I always wanted to be that celebrity that like had the nice interactions, but like put people in their place when they weren't going to be respectful of you and stuff, and you just have to deal with that shit. By actually dealing with it instead of just like putting it in your back pocket kind of a thing. So
other VMA stuff,
I didn't really watch the VMAs. I just know who. What were we doing?
We were
something?
doing a photo shoot at the fair.
Oh yeah.
But I was getting like alerts for Taylor related stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just kind of put Chapel, and then I put Taylor, Sabrina, Katy Perry, but I didn't have like anything like too in depth with them. Just like, I know that Taylor literally has like a camera on her all night long now at the VMAs. And I know she disappeared for a while from the crowd, and it was
probably
like,
just
for
to
Sabrina
like
and Chapel's performances. Someone was like, had the idea of maybe it was on purpose to kind of separate from them and not have another Olivia Rodrigo incident of like, Olivia always gets asked about Taylor in interviews and stuff because of her making it so known that she was a Swiftie at the start of her career. And so like maybe they're trying to avoid having that happen with Sabrina and Chapel of like asking about her and stuff. So that way it doesn't get into like a situation where their relationship kind of dies because of drama.
Well, and not even that,
happen.
it's just I'm sure everybody would have been like over analyzing everything. Like, oh my god, did you see her? She like obviously she hated that note, or obviously like
they're like she get her off camera so that we don't have to like be.
Or she maybe just have been backstage like supporting her friends for once, or like, or it just happened like. Because I don't know how close Taylor and Chapel are, and I don't know if Taylor's one of the people that's reached out to Chapel about any of this stuff, because I know Sabrina Carpenter has been. But
I think it was just another example of like a up-and-coming female artist that's younger or whatever, and like not wanting to automatically tie her to Taylor in the way that Olivia was tied to her.
Well, and I think just everybody in general that is a young up-and-coming artist gets tied to Taylor immediately. Yeah. So it might have just been like, oh, she went backstage for Sabrina to like cheer her on, and B, maybe she just like wanted a break and like just went and did something. Like, it's not a big deal. Like,
I also don't know when, since we didn't watch, I don't know maybe if that's when the outfit change happened.
Oh, maybe.
Because she did change outfits randomly. She
like
didn't perform or present, so I don't really know
I didn't what like that.
The reasoning for an outfit change was. People were like, oh, down bad music video because space, but also like I think like Sabrina, her whole performance was kind of space stuff, which it's the Moon Man is what the award is, so I think they just kind of were tying into what the award is.
That was my thing.
But, yeah. What was the name of Katy Perry's award? She got like the big one.
She got a
medley performance and stuff.
She got like a veteran performance award or something like that. I might want to look that up. Which was for Roar, her performance of Roar in 2016.
Well, no, because like there was something like that though, because Michael Jackson Video Vanguard, that's what it was. Because like Taylor got some sort of award for You Belong With Me performance this year too, from like 2009. So there are some weird like throwback awards happening that I think were awarded ahead of time.
That makes sense. Because have you seen Katy Perry's 2016 Roar? I saw somebody made a commentary about that, and I was like, yeah, why is that the video of everything that Katy Perry has done? That's the one that should have. I was like, yeah, no.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I just liked.
I think Katy Perry needs some good press at this point in her career, but like that was not it in my opinion.
She was on Car Daddy. I did listen to that interview. She's very spiritual and like kind of witchy type person.
She's always been like spiritual in some sense though. Like even in her first music well, the other thing is I was like some of the stuff she pulled from, and I was like there was two things. One was the fact that like some of the stuff like contradicted. Like, oh, she's had this amazing team since day one, and I was like, I remember her documentary back in, oh god, I don't even remember at this point, like 2014 or something like that, because me and my mom went to go see it together, and that was like, I loved Katy Perry after watching that movie. Like, it just like made a big bonding moment with me and my mom. Like, we were just like, oh my gosh. And she was very like spiritual then too, but like with God still, she still had like a huge connection with that. But then she like made this big deal about how like her management team and everything was like screwing her over, and she like took two people and like ran with all her stuff out of the office and like moved to a different thing, like like, cause she had like a publishing deal or something like that, and they or a recording deal, and they didn't want to record the song. Like, she couldn't write the songs that she wanted to write and all this stuff, so like she just like took her original music and ran with it, kind of a thing. So it's just interesting to me, her saying some of that stuff. And but also I was like, did you not watch the documentary? Like, she already covered all of this. Like,
yeah. That's probably it VMA wise. We're also already half hour in. That's so yeah. I don't know, should we do, I'll let you choose, like legal stuff next or new music?
I don't really have new music, but
okay. I just have Miranda. But
I don't really care for her single, so I didn't think I was gonna like the
album. I
didn't
care for Wranglers, no. It's a good album, but it's not my favorite. And like I said, I wrote things down so I could remember things. But it's Postcards from Texas, and it released September 13th, which was last Friday at the time of recording this. And it's like her first album with the new label. So she's been with Sony forever, and now she's it's a joint deal with Republic Records and Big Loud. So
I will say this is the first Miranda album that I feel like was not promoted. Maybe that's just me not.
I've seen so many TikToks promoting stuff ahead of time, just like random bits of random songs.
Okay. I just have not, like, in my world of, like, I just have not seen anything.
And then she did Casa Rosa, her bar, on Sunday. It was like, come get wristbands while they last for the we're gonna play the album top to bottom at 5 p.m. at Casa Rosa.
Okay.
And wristbands were gone by 10 a.m.
Well, then I stand corrected. I guess I'm not as big of a well, I haven't really liked her stuff since the double album. I liked the double album, and then I didn't like Wild Card was the next one, right?
Oh, okay.
I didn't like it since then. So.
Yeah, I like I was gonna say of like, I don't remember her like first 5
well, I guess that's
albums,
not true. I liked the one after that, right?
Palomino.
Yes, I love
Palomino's good. Yeah, those are Palomino, Wildcard, and The Weight of These Wings, which is the double album of The Nerve and the Heart. Those are like my top 3 for her, which I think are like 6, 7, 8, because I was like, the first 5 I just don't have like memories of listening to, but like the double album was like, well, I know the songs and stuff, but just not like as a whole.
Platinum was my favorite album for the longest time. I listened to that album on repeat in high school.
The Weight of These Wings was like the first one I remember like coming out, I guess. So that one's more like imprinted, since that was my first one from memory. But yeah, I would say those 3 are probably my top 3 of hers. This one's good. I just don't think like as a whole I like it as like an album, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's still good songs on it, and it's more of like a Texas country and classic country leaning, I think.
I think her. Right now, I just like her style has just like, I don't know if I've just outgrown it or like what it is. It's just like, it's not as new and fresh for me, and that's where I'm like losing connection with her. So it's just like.
But I know with her, like I've noticed like Bluebird, there's the line of like, the records I'm playing, they might keep you waiting, but you know I'm gonna play them for keeps. And I don't know if this is meant to be interpreted. I think I got the right interpretation of it, of like she does like 2 to 3 years between albums, and so she's taking her time making them. And I know we've talked about artists that are like just rapidly putting out new music and not taking the time to make sure they're still like quality records. And I think she does try and take the time to make sure that she's putting out stuff that is quality. So
yeah, for sure. Because anytime I'm listening to co-writers of her talk about the making of like her records, like it seems like she genuinely is drawing from personal experiences and stuff. So like I give her a lot of credit. I think the only new music I've been listening to a lot is Maren Morris's EP is still Push Me Over is still my favorite thing. Sabrina Carpenter, and I finally listened to Tate McRae's new song, It's Okay, I'm Okay. It wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. I was so excited, and everyone was like, oh my god, this song hits so hard, and I was like, I don't remember it. Like, it's not memorable for me.
Writing credits on all but 4 of the 14 songs, so, and then the only solo one is the one that I was going to talk about. It's called Run, and she wrote it a decade ago, and it's like, she hasn't confirmed it, but it's allegedly about her relationship with Blake Shelton.
Oh.
And so she was talking to Kelly Bannon.
Oh, wait, I think I heard about this song, but I don't think I knew anything of the details. Yeah. But I think I heard.
She's on Today's Country Radio talking to Kelly Bannon, who hosts that, and she said, I wasn't ever ready to perform it until now. That's what songs are for, and you may not be ready at that one time to sing about something really raw or sing about alimony. You might be going through a divorce or whatever. At the time, it might not be funny, or at the time, it might feel too raw, but then it can come back around. And she said it's an admission of human error, it's an apology, but it's also a resolve. So, I guess just like some of the lyrics is like, this freedom I found, baby, sure wasn't free. I owe you a lifetime of apologies. I'm telling the truth now. I love you so much. I'm sorry for lying about who I was. And has stuff about like I was gonna run.
Yeah.
Being the hook of so it sounds like she kind of was having thoughts of maybe ending the relationship before it was over.
Right.
And just knew that it wasn't gonna last. But that's just interesting that a song from a decade ago came back around and found its home on an album, because it just didn't really fit with any of her other projects.
Yeah.
And then the part of like it was too raw at the time to really sing. So
yeah.
That's like probably my top one on there as far as like highlighting stuff. But there's like classic Miranda, like weird ones and stuff too. But I think that's probably the best one on there as far as like emotion and songwriting.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I had for new music, was just her album. But the legal stuff was just 2 different court type things, and one of them we posted about for Tuesday Newsday of BMI filing rate court action against SiriusXM.
Oh yes.
And so like there's like a consent decree. And hang on. So BMI like operates pursuant to a consent decree and points to Article, what is that, 14? Roman numerals, XIV. I think that's 14A of the consent decree, which the PRO says requires BMI to quote music users what BMI deems to be reasonable fees and terms for requested licenses. And their filing explains if BMI and a music user are unable to agree on license fees and terms, either party can petition this court to evaluate the reasonableness of BMI's rate quote and, if necessary, set the reasonable fee and terms. So basically it's like the 2 parties are talking just directly between the 2, trying to agree on what's a fair rate for the music user to pay royalties to BMI to pay the songwriters of these songs. And SiriusXM in this case was like not agreeing on stuff, and they've been trying to do it for a while now. So they're like, okay, we're gonna go to rate court about it, and they're gonna help us figure this out because songwriters need to be paid fairly.
Yeah.
So let's see what else there was of it.
So basically, when
I was trying to say it in like,
yeah, I was just gonna break it down for
terms,
people. So like basically, if when you buy BMI's catalog, there was a restaurant and you wanted to use a catalog, like a song that was on BMI's writer catalog, you have to pay BMI to get rights to play one of their songs in your restaurant. So SiriusXM was not agreeing to the terms that BMI and them could come to an agreement about. So now they're taking it to court to actually settle on a appropriate rate that SiriusXM will play. Is it annually? or quarterly? I don't know how BMI's payment works. I just know we get paid quarterly.
We get paid quarterly.
But then based off of like,
so
your
in May 23, BMI quoted to SiriusXM the fee and principal terms BMI deemed reasonable for a BMI license for the period of January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2026. So like a 4-year period.
Okay.
5-year period. I don't understand math. Because 26 minus 22 is 4, but that's 5 years if you do like 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Right? Like 6 minus 2 is 4.
22 to 23, 23
I know.
to 24, 24 to 25, 25 to 26. That's 4.
Oh, man. Never mind. No, because it's through 2026. So the year of 22, 23, 24, 25, and 26.
Yeah, okay. Well, then, yes.
So I'm confused math.
If it's through, then it's, yeah. Stops at 27. Then do that math.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess that's how that would work. So, however, they've been unable to agree to final terms. So I guess they like quoted the fee and principal terms, but they haven't come to final terms with that, which is interesting that this is for a license period that started back in 2022.
Yeah, that's
and we're almost done with 24 somehow.
Yeah, how is that even possible?
Yeah, I don't understand that. But they submitted the petition for determination that the rates it quoted for the license requested by SiriusXM are reasonable, or in the alternative, for an order setting reasonable rates for SiriusXM's public performance of songs in the BMI repertoire. And then they did a press statement on September 12th saying, despite years of negotiations, SiriusXM is attempting to lower its payments to BMI songwriters, composers, and publishers, and added that SiriusXM is ignoring BMI's preeminent market share, changes in the marketplace, SiriusXM's product evolution towards a digital service, and the company's strong revenue growth. And that its songwriters and composers should not have to accept an outdated rate that significantly undervalues their music, which provides the very foundation of SiriusXM's programming. So, I think
maybe it was like they hadn't, even though it was because it was so long that one of them is saying like it's outdated.
Yeah,
so.
like BMI wants to raise it, maybe.
Yeah.
Because obviously they have to have something, because we're still getting paid stuff. Like, they didn't, like, put a stop to royalties for all BMI songwriters while they're figuring it out.
Right.
So, but I wonder if it would be, like, a settlement thing of, like, they would retroactively go back to 22 and, like, pay royalties at whatever rate they were trying to figure out.
Probably not.
Okay. Because we got that random, like, $25 thing, like, earlier this year that was like some sort of thing. So I was like, I wonder if it would be something like that. I don't remember what that was for, but it was weird.
I don't remember it, cool. So okay. Maybe if it's like one of those, like, if you ever get the emails, McDonald's gets sued and now you may be entitled to compensation if you bought a McChicken in this time period. Like
is it worth the time to like actually get involved in like being included in those cases?
I know, right? It's like for your 5
do I want
cents.
To?
Like,
but yeah, I think that's basically it for that one. Of they're still trying to figure out rates, but BMI is doing a good job of advocating for songwriters of like, hey, the market share, like, you're undervaluing these writers and they need to be paid fairly for their music. Right. So hopefully it gets all figured out with the rate court, because that's their whole job, is to do that. So the other legal thing was Miley Cyrus being sued for Flowers.
I'm surprised it took this long, but I guess they had to build a case for what it actually was.
Here's the thing. Bruno Mars isn't doing it. It's let's find it. Tempo Music Investments bought a share of Bruno Mars's song "When I Was Your Man" from one of its writers, and they're the ones accusing Miley of copyright infringement. So I'm like, did you buy a share just to sue?
Yeah, that's such a money grab. Are you kidding me?
What are you doing? And like according to the lawsuit, they say Flowers duplicates numerous melodic, harmonic, and lyrical elements of When I Was Your Man. And I know when that song came out, there was TikToks comparing like how there's similarities
because it's supposed to be
that's the idea.
It's supposed to be a dig at, because if this is all true, I don't know how hearsay it is, but supposedly at their wedding, it has to do with her relationship with Liam, and so she went back and said, F this, I can do it all myself. And so like that was the whole point. But if Bruno Mars isn't even saying like,
right,
yeah,
if
bitch,
Bruno's not, yeah,
no, that seems like I think, yeah, because we all agree that like everyone saw it. Like that was like one of those things that
a lot of people
it was not going to get overlooked.
Goes into the discussion of like, that's inspiration for it. So like, can you copyright that? Because it's just ideas and inspiration, and it's not anything copyrightable. But they're saying it's like there's melodic, harmonic, and lyrical elements. I know lyrical because of the idea thing, but they're like generic things in like a relationship you talk about. So it's not anything specific to that one song.
Exactly.
It's like holding hand, buying flowers. That's just like a thing in relationships.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's any grounds for it. I never really noticed much of melodic or harmonic.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
I think they're different enough.
They're also like two very, I think they're far enough apart in time. Like, yes, you can lyrically hear it, but like there are two very different people that are listening to those songs. Like, you're not putting them on back to back because they sound the same. Like, they're not on the same playlist. Like, they're very different songs.
Yeah. So it's just
and in a court of law, to prove all of that stuff, you have to be able, as an average citizen of the world, to be able to hear that stuff. So if a layman's terms person can't hear it, then it shouldn't be passed in court.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
but we'll see.
I was like, it's someone who bought the rights to a share of the song. Like, that's just so weird.
That is weird. Yeah. Well, anyways, guys.
Yeah, if you have any thoughts on any of these current events, any new music you're digging, any current events we didn't cover that you have thoughts on and want us to talk about as well, you can send those to the Music Lens Podcast at gmail.com, and you can keep up with us on socials at the Music Lens Podcast. And
let us know if you guys want us to do another content day before the end of the year. Maybe we'll make that happen.
We can try.
Or early next year.
Yeah, I'm just like, you literally just committed to a musical that's going to take all of your October.
And November.
And November. Okay. Unless there's like some sort of Christmas content day. I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
We'll see. Let us know if you want one squeezed in by the end of the year. Otherwise, early next year. But yeah, Music Lens Podcast on all socials. I said that. And then Alex Allegra Music on all socials. Katie Fee Music on all socials. And that's it for this week. So see you next time.
Bye.